Welcome to everyone. Today we are going discussing about a user datagram protocol, which is very important topic in the computer network. So what is meant by this user datagram protocol? So and what kind of architecture we follow that one? And this protocol is how is helpful to create a virtual layer in the transport layer, and how it is helpful to design the transport layer parameters. In the today's session, we're going to discuss all the parameters. So what is UDP? What is user datagram protocol? So user datagram protocol apparently we calling as a UDP protocol that is used in the a transport layer protocol. So both are a similar manual. Transport layer protocol is nothing but a UDP protocol, but UDP protocol is a part of internet protocol suite that is referred as a UDP IP protocol. Generally we calling as a TCP IP protocol, which means we calling as a transmission control protocol with internet protocol. Apparently this protocol, the UDP protocol, also is same as my transmission control protocol, which is a transport layer protocol, and there is a part of this internet protocol suite we calling as a UDP IP protocol, which we calling as a user diagram protocol with internet protocol suite. And what is meant by this one? So this UDP is an unreliable and connectionless protocol. As we discussed about this one, when you go for this a virtual layer in the virtual kind of communication, so this UDP is the unreliable and connectionless protocol services we offer that one. So which means no need to establish the connection, because when in the name itself is the connectionless protocol, we don't need to establish any kind of connections to create the data transfer, because it should be a virtual kind of communication established. The information is transmitted from source to destination with the help of some kind of antenna structure. We are using that one. So here the real-time kind of services like computer gaming or voice or a video kind of communication like SMS or MMS communications or teleconference communications or via Zoom kind of video meetings kind of communications, all these things are involved in the real-time in the UDP protocols. So when you go for this live conferences, all these things with the help of this virtual kind of communications established here. So that establishment, for that one we need a UDP. So here the UDP in the sense is kind of high performance is needed, when in the sense it has to permit the packets to be dropped off, or instead of processing delayed in the packet kind of required. So we are some kind of service also require that one, and there is no error checking in UDP. There is no because it's a virtual kind of communication, there is no error checking the UDP, and it also saves the bandwidth. And the UDP protocol having as a more efficient in terms of both latency and bandwidth, because we have saved the bandwidth, and we don't no error checking mechanism is involved here. So obviously we go for the save the bandwidth, and so it is efficient in terms of the latency as well as bandwidth manner. And this UDP is enabled to process communication, as we discussed in the TCP IP layer, or else in the transmission protocol that we go for is a process to process communication. So this UDP also enables the process to process communication, where TCPs provide the host to host communication. So as we discussed this one TCP IP protocol, or else my UDP IP protocols, right? One is a transmission control protocol, or else a user datagram protocol. So where we go for this one, a connectionless establishment, a virtual connectionless communication is establishment protocol. There should be unreliable kind of services you offer that one, but how will offer this TCP is required for this host to host communication, but this UDP is required for a process to process communication. But what is the futures of this UDP protocol? So another important parameter, what is the futures? So in the futures of UDP protocol, which is a transport layer protocol, so where we develop this one in the UDP protocol, so we are going to develop the what kind of transport services we offer that one. So end of the day, these kind of services we offer in the transport layer, so that the transport layer communication, so send information or connection establishment, connection released, all these things, so that should be developed in the transport layer. UDP also used in the transport layer only. We calling as a one of the protocol the transport layer, that is the important of user diagram protocol. And this also acting as a connectionless protocol, a virtual kind of communication established. So this is purely based upon the port address. In the we having as IP address we have that one, and similarly we having as respect to port address we have that one. And as we say, this is a connectionless communication, and there is a no error checking mechanism involved here. We go for the faster transmission is arrived, faster transmission available in this UDP protocol. And we also having as an acknowledgement mechanism, and which means whether we go for this positive acknowledgement or we go for a negative acknowledgement. So that kind of acknowledgement mechanism also involved in this UDP protocol. And these segmentations are handled independently. We can able to handle segmentations very easily, and this having as a stateless mechanism. And what is the well known of this port for UDP protocol? So what is the UDP protocol? We can able to say is a well known kind of structure. We are organized that one. So we have different kind of structure. We are using that one. So you see this one. All this is not a serial number. This we calling as a port number. For example, respect to port number 7, we have that one. That we calling as a echo protocol. What is echo? Echo in the sense what kind of information receiving the datagram that back to the sender. For example, here we can send the information, and this we get the echo kind of structure. What information transmitted and what kind of echo we have received, that one, that kind of received from the sender, the datagram back to the sender. Echoes received, datagram back to the sender. And when you go for this port number 9, we calling as a discarded. So which means a discard any datagram is received. Discard any datagram is received. And port number 11 we calling as a users, which we calling as a how many active users are there. And port number 13 we calling as a date time, which means it returns date and respect to time. And 17 we calling as a quote, which means it returns a quote of the day. And this charging, which means having as a returns of a string character. And this we having as a name server, which we having as a domain name services, DNS mechanism. And we calling as a boot ups and bootstrap, because we calling as a service port to the download the bootstrap number, and client port to download the bootstrap information. One is bootstrap S, similarly boot up C. And similarly TFTP, travel file transfer protocol, and similarly we calling as RPC, we calling as a remote procedure call services. And we calling as a NTP, which we calling as a network time protocol. And next one is SNMP, simple network management protocol, and that should be a trap kind of protocol only. So these are the well-known port of this UDP protocol. We have n number of ports are available based upon the port we are using that one. Each and every port used for particular application scenario. And what is the header format? So in the UDP header format, the header which consists of 8 bytes, and we having respect to payload data, we have that one. And this header we having as a source port number, destination port number, similarly total length of my bits, as well as checksum mechanism. And how it is operate? So UDP is operation, as we say that one, UDP is a connectionless mechanism. So what are the information we have that one, that should be acting as a connectionless services. So those kind of connectionless services we offer that one. So that is a virtual connection, virtual kind of communication established in the user datagram protocol, we calling as a connectionless services. And we have to maintain the flow control as well as error control. We have to maintain the information is transmitted, control the flow of mechanism, as well as we maintain the checksum mechanism. We have to control the error as well. And we go for encapsulation as well as decapsulation. And if the things are in busy state, that should be go for the queue state only. And what is the uses of this UDP? The UDP is suitable for process that require a simple request response communication, because when go for when we send information, we transmit information in the simple request manner only. So simple request response communication with little concern of flow and error control. So because we are not specifically use that one, but when we raise a request, based upon the request, we have to listen that information, we get the communication establishment, then send the information as well as receive the information. So error control we have to concern about that one, as well as flow also it is concerned about error control as well as flow control. So it is not usually use the process to process that one. We go for the file transfer situation. We calling as FTP mechanism. We calling as a file transfer control protocol that needs to send the bulk data. So at the same time, this UDP is suitable to process the internet flow as well as error control mechanism. For example, a TFTP, as we discussed, the port number of pre and the UDP mechanism, we having as a tribal file transfer protocol is there. So that process is involved to control the error and flow control mechanism. It can easily use in the UDP mechanism with help of this TFTP process. And this UDP is suitable transfer protocol for multicasting. So this multicasting capacity is embedded in the UDP software but not in the TCP software. So because multi-capability, multicasting or capacity involved, this multicasting capability is needed to embed it in the UDP software, but that not is available in TCP mechanism. So this UDP is a management process such as simple network management protocol. that is another port in the UDP protocol services. And this UDP is some updating protocol, which means having as a routing information protocols. So I conclude this session. In this session, we are discussing about the briefing about this UDP mechanism. In the UDP mechanism, what kind of datagram packet we are using, that one, what is the header kind of structure discussing about that one, and what kind of services of this UDP, and what kind of port number, and each and every port we having as a different kind of meaning we have that one, and with help of this one, what kind of communication with compared to TCP and UDP kind of things we discuss in this user datagram protocol. So here, while we conclude this session in the user datagram protocol is a very much important and helpful to analyzing about the designing the a connectionless communication, because this is maintain the data granularity, because the connectionless communication, it has to maintain the error control as well as the flow control with help of this FTP mechanism or else TFTP mechanism. We are using different kind of services we offer that one, so that is helpful to communicate the information transmitter from host to host or process to process delivery. So that is helpful in the user datagram protocol.